evening. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Carrabelle City Commission. It's Thursday, June the 1st, 2017, 6 p.m. at Carrabelle City Hall. And I'll ask Commissioner Allen to please say the prayer, and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Well, this is not counting.
Waiting on him. Okay, our God and Father in heaven, we're so grateful that we have this opportunity to come together and deal with the things that pertain to this wonderful beautiful city that we have the pleasure and privilege to live in. We're thankful, Father, that for those who come tonight to share and participation, that we welcome their help, input, output. Thank you for helping us do a better job here. Ask you to be with us and that we might judge with wisdom, favor, what we're being harmony with your will. We also ask you to be with our country at this time and deal with some terrible bad situations that we might keep in mind that your will is to be a person and to be. Pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, gentlemen, it looks like it's just us this evening, and we'll move right on to the consent agenda that includes the May 4th, 2017 minutes and the attorney's invoices. May I have a motion to approve that consent agenda? Mr. Walden has made a motion.
Second.
Okay, and we'll have a motion by Commissioner Walden, second by Commissioner Mathis. Is there any discussion? Excuse me, Commissioner Allen, second by Commissioner Allen. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Commissioner Walden, do you have a report to see?
Not that I have.
Okay. Mayor? Yes. Thank you. And is there public comment?
I bet that works. Always check to see if it's plugged in. Steve Allen, I'm the current president of the Carrabelle Lighthouse Association, and although we're not part of your normal agenda, that's why I'm about to do public comment. I just want to make a couple announcements. First of all, thank you. I drove out to the city park about a week or two ago, and it was freshly mowed and it really looked good, and the work had been done to replace the dirt on the pirate ship that burned 2 years ago. And so that was great to get that, because we had 3 flash fires kind of over the last year. It just seemed to spontaneously happen. In regard to the, it was 2 years ago this month, or last month in May, that pirate ship burned down, the playground that we got through the grant. And starting with some young kids who came in and emptied out their piggy banks because they had enjoyed having a birthday party or playing on that. We began to raise some money to help go to the replacement of it. And we were working to come up, we were below $10,000, and it was our goal to at least get up to a 5-figure number so that we could show the community's commitment in that regard. And we had 2 projects this month, a gift from Harry's Bar They gave us $75 worth of collected dollar bills, 75 years worth of collected dollar bills. Thank you. I'll wait till you hear the figure.
Okay.
I don't have a final figure because they also gave some coins that we're having to count and roll, but basically in excess of $3,500, and that probably amounts to about 25 or 30,000 staples that had to be pulled out to get access to those dollar bills. It was an amazing effort from our volunteers, and they donated that to the rebuilding of the pirate ship. In addition to that, we had done a little grant to do the presentation of our play again this year at the Chapman Auditorium, and that event was held last weekend. And the proceeds from that event also goes to the lighthouse and specifically targeted toward, getting to that sum figure for the replacement for the ship. And I think will be an additional more than $1,000 or $1,500 from that. I haven't got that counted up as well, but I wanted to let you know that we're somewhere around between $14,000 and $15,000 now in terms of the money that's been raised. We have one more event this summer, a cook-off, and so what I'm here to just let you guys know about the community commitment, the people that enjoy the playground, as shown in the money that's been raised through efforts, and that now that we've kind of achieved our primary goal, and we know there's some insurance money that's been set aside, I just want to begin to look at in earnest either ways to leverage that money with other money to help accomplish our task, or look for alternatives to rebuild. So thank you very much.
Okay, and I would suggest that you said, to help accomplish your task, I would hope that you all would get together, your board, and decide what is the task, what exactly do you want there, so that you can kind of get an idea on the price.
Okay, very well.
Because we have 33 or 35,000 was the insurance replacement. So that was your 14 or 15. That's not. I don't know what y'all are looking at.
Right.
So,
Okay.
I know they came. We were trying to get the $500,000 grant. Mr. Fox, some of the ladies came from the lighthouse, and they described what they wanted. Mr. Fox said that they were asking for something that you would find at Disney World. So, the money that we've got right now between the lighthouse and the insurance reimbursement, I don't think would fund a project like that. So
Right. Yeah.
y'all need to come to terms with that first.
We will. I also want to mention, a lot of times we get support from community. J.D. Hilliard, or James Hilliard, who does some construction, did some repair of our ramp. We had some rotting boards. I want to meet with him and others that maybe we can figure out an alternative way of really making the most of those funds, being creative and figuring a way to, and maybe we can get some small community Walmart grant or something to go along with it and try to just make that money go as far as we can. I just wanted to say this tonight to let you know that we kind of achieved our first goal, and now that we're at that point, we would like to really start to work hard at doing that. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Is there any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Greg Christofferson, volunteer extraordinaire. Just want to remind everyone up here that has a microphone, and anyone that's going to speak tonight, if you could speak up, because the air conditioners pretty much override what we can pick up on the video, and everybody likes to listen to this when they're not attending a meeting. So let's pretend you're singing karaoke, and you guys need to move a little closer. Thank you.
Bring your microphone. Okay, any other public comment? All right, then, and then Commissioner Walden, you have no report, okay. Commissioner Allen, do you have a report?
No.
Okay. I do have a report. I'll try to make it quick. On May the 9th, the administrative staff and the chief and I toured the Choppy City Hall for exposure, for them to have exposure and an example of new construction, workflow, floor planning, operations layout, and cost of specific purpose-built City Hall facility. On May the 10th and 31st, I attended my regular TDC board and committee meetings. They reported a 7% growth rate in Franklin County tourism over the past 3 to 4 years. It's also reported the months of October and March have had a substantial increase in visitors over the past 2 years. And finally, now after 2 years of planning and design work, the renovations and repairs to the 2 restrooms at the Carrabelle Beach picnic facility got underway this week. The TDC is funding that project at a cost of $100,000. And so if you drive by and you see 2 portable restroom units out there, they're the large handicap style units. That's there. I don't know how long it will take to complete that, but it's a remodel of those restrooms and the electrical wiring in there. And then for this month's regular Water and Sewer Department meeting on May the 31st, Keith and Charlie gave Courtney and I a detailed tour of the Lanark Water Treatment Plant, the Lanark Vacuum Station, and the Carrabelle Vacuum Station in Sands Park. And this was to review some new equipment installation and ongoing operations. We're continuing ongoing communications with the FDOT Aviation Land Use Manager regarding the new airport zoning regulations under Florida Statute 333. We're also working with David Cruz, the Florida League of Cities attorney, and his staff regarding Carrabelle's approach on how to comply with this statute. And the Florida League of Cities is trying to work and find out how they can assist now all Florida cities with this new unfunded mandate. Then I want to report the Florida legislature this year did not include any funding for FERDAP program for 2017-18 state budget. So the Tilly Miller, unfortunately, the Tilly Miller Park FERDAP project application that we submitted will not receive funding this year. So if it's the pleasure of the commission later on in the year, the city can resubmit that application to the DEP. It's already, we've already done all the preliminary work that was required for that application for the 2018-19 funding cycle. And then I want to report on 3 proposed legislative House bills affecting Carrabelle that I've been watching closely. House Bill 891 regarding dissolution of the Carrabelle Port and Airport Authority will become effective upon, or will become law when the governor signs the bill, and he has until June 6th to do that. And then House Bill 3387, the Carrabelle potable water supply for the septic to sewer conversion project in the Lighthouse Road area died in appropriations, and it did not make it to the legislative budget. Russell Large will present another opportunity for funding for that water supply portion of that project in his report. And then House Bill 13 regarding major administrative changes in Florida's community redevelopment agencies did pass in the House, but it died in the Senate. There were major changes involved in that, and we were following it. The bill, we were watching it closely because it would affect our CRA and how it operated. Ms. Vicki Summerhill said it could resurface again next session, but for now, no further action is going to be taken on it until it's brought back before the legislature next year. And I just want to mention again, the Franklin County Board of County Commissioners continue to seriously discuss the ongoing issue of illegal dumping of household garbage in the recycle bins and on the right-of-ways throughout Franklin County, including in Carrabelle. And they continue to talk about taking away the recycling project of illegal dumping of household garbage continues in those bins. And so this board won't meet again until July the 6th, so I want to wish you all a happy June and a great and happy 4th of July holiday. Happy 4th of July to everyone. I don't see you between now and then. So then we'll move on to Mr. Russell Large with the notary.
Thank you. I'll be brief as well. You should have your report on the Avenue B project, which is a CDBG grant. Of course, that was awarded, and I understand that those executed agreements have been sent to DEF. Fred Fox is completing the environmental document now, which is going to require a public notice, and he'll be contacting you about that. That public notice will be posted sometime in mid to late June. And through that cycle, that puts a letting date for the project sometime in September. That's for Avenue B. We are still waiting to hear from DOT on the scope grant project. And of course, the City Hall planning study, we have an agenda item on it. And for the water funding project that the mayor mentioned, that application will be submitted through Restore. And that application is due on 15 July. So we already have much of that application put together from our previous funding request. So we'll be submitting that as an online application.
Okay. Does anyone have questions for Mr. Large? All right. I'm going to call for a motion on the funding, and then I have another question about the CDBG. But we motioned last month, I believe it was, or in a special meeting for Mr. Large to go to the Restore Act workshop to submit an application that's required. So I would like to just go ahead and make it formal and call for a motion to allow Mr. Large to go ahead and submit that application to the Restore Act multi-year implementation program for the water supply portion of the sewage septic project in the Lighthouse Road area.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Walden and a second by Commissioner Allen. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. And then I just wanted to ask you about on the CDBG Northwest Avenue B, you talked about a period of time to receive public input from the public. Would that be, is that maybe a time that you might have your community meeting?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, yes. I do think that would afford us the time to hold that meeting.
Okay. Do you know when that period of time is yet, or we're still?
I think it needs to be in mid to late July, probably more like late July. I think that's an appropriate time to have it.
All right, well, we'll discuss that at our June CRA meeting so that we can get it advertised.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, Waterfronts Partnership, Ms. Tamara. Thank you.
I didn't know that all of you got the report. I have extras if anybody needs a copy of my report.
Thank you.
They often say that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and if I'd have known we had the possibility of showing pictures, I would have brought slides. We are making great progress after waiting forever and ever to get permission from the state to actually begin on our historic preservation grant for Old City Hall. This is number phase 3 that we're doing this year, and it's basically to install an exit stair from the downstairs, from upstairs to the ground, making it possible to escape in case of an emergency. And the photographs that you have there, one of them is the base that the stair will actually sit on, and they were all framed up earlier this week, and they actually mixed that concrete by hand and poured those foundations there. But I really wanted to take a chance, an opportunity here to thank you all for the city work crews and their efforts to remove those septic tanks that are back there. Obviously, they were omitted when they they removed them and crashed them and crunched them and did all things around the city, but they never remembered to get that one. And so there have been a lot of hard work back there to help prepare the area so that we could put the stairs in. and one of them was to remove the 2 septic tanks that were back there. Fortunately, they were small, but it took a lot of work since we were unable to locate a small backhoe. So I do appreciate very much the effort of the city and staff and crew. And then also we're in the process of, as you know, moving the wire so that you won't be walking up the metal stair and the electrical wire for the entire neighborhood is like right by your hand. So that's working along, but they're going to be, the stairs should be put in, if not tomorrow, the earlier part of next week. So we're looking forward to that. The other 2 pictures are actually the door. They haven't finished on the inside, but the door that the stairs will go into from outside was a window, and now it's a door. And then from the inside, they haven't finished around the edges yet, but you can see what's going on, and it happened very quickly once they got started. So we're pleased with that. And you may remember that we didn't have enough money in the grant to actually install the door to go at the top of the stairs. And so I was able to find a grant from the Tom Hoffer Living Trust to install that door, and we were able to pay for that directly from that money. So that really won't be a part of the grant, but it is an amount of money that the Carrabelle Historical Society and the museum have dedicated for that purpose. We have had some movement on our brownfield grant. The report has actually been written and was given to the state by the contractor in March, but we haven't seen it. And I've been writing them and telling them that the city's considering using that property for various things, and we need to know if it's safe, if the final report will be that the land is safe to use. We have no reason to think anything different than that, but we would like to see it in writing since they've gone for years of work to get it set up. And let's see, the other thing I wanted to tell you is that while Dale Cox was here giving the talk last week on the CSS Chattahoochee and the Hurricane Appalachia Bay in 1866, he also took the opportunity to video interviews with myself and Joan Mady, mine about the History Museum, hers about the Lighthouse and Museum, and he's coming back to do David Butler, so he can do an entire show on 2Egg TV about historical visits that you can make in Carrabelle. And he's really promoting his channel as a regional travel channel. And if you go on that website, you'll find all kinds of information about the Civil War battlegrounds, about various activities that happened, some ghost stories from some places, and various interesting how to make syrup, cane syrup, and they actually show them going through the current process as well as the old process. So it just very interesting little TV regional travel channel, but we will be featured on that in the coming months. So does anybody have any questions? Trying to think if there's anything on the back. Oh, I was pleased to be contacted by the Appalachia Regional Planning Council. This is the year that they're going to do their update on the Regional Economic Development Plan, and both David Butler and I are on that group. So we've been meeting with the gentleman who heads that up, Richard Fetchick, and he is very impressed with things that have been done in Carrabelle and wanted to be sure that we had representation on that group. So, and they didn't have the airports in Franklin County down as a resource and potential economic development sites, both here and in Apalachicola. So we were able to get that on there, and we're going to keep looking at what all they are proposing. But I thought that was pretty important to get on there, as well as I'm sure there'll be other things as we get some drafts to look at of their plan.
And in connection with that, I'd like to say that there is, and you mentioned this, but I want to emphasize it, that there will be a new class if there are enough people interested in learning to do the CERT, not first responder, but response to incidents of disaster. And that'll be held over at the Emergency Operations Center, and it'll be sometime in June. So if you're interested in taking that course, it's about a 20-hour course that deals with triage, first aid, CPR, a number of things, plus it's a wide range of disaster issues. So if you're interested in doing that, get with me and I can give you the information on how to get in touch with them.
That's right, the Emergency Management Center is holding the class, and it's the community emergency response teams, and we've got a good beginning of one here in Carrabelle, and we're always glad to have other members of our team. So it's a good activity. Anything
And how
else?
often does this Appalachian Economic Development Council meet?
It's been meeting every 2 weeks. Tomorrow is our second time, and it's just a very short time activity, updating the existing plan, looking at a lot of statistics about how the counties and the region, it's quite a diverse county.
And it's encompassing the 9 counties.
Right.
And then where do y'all meet?
On the phone.
Oh, that's
So we've been meeting on the phone. It worked out really well for me. And I think closer to the end, we'll have a face-to-face meeting. But right now what we're doing is basically reviewing lots of material in the previous plan and the updates, and trying to add things and research some of what people are suggesting. That the airport in Tallahassee has been designated as a major economic zone, and so when I suggested that, we believe that the airports here in Franklin County are going to be a major economic opportunity for our county over time, and he said it was perfect because it would link up with what they're doing at in Tallahassee, which is not just in Leon County but regional. So if I find out any more details about it, I'll be glad to share them with you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we don't have an EDC report this evening, but we'll move forward then to the Carrabelle Aviation Advisory Board report.
There we go. Good evening. You got the report here. Any questions? The one thing I did want to mention is that the RFQ for the general consulting services will be up June 15th. With that, the House Bill 891 becoming law on June 6th, and we've been working with FDOT, a consultant, lining up priorities that all three will come together at the same time, which will help us move forward to get the FAA funding we're looking at. Any questions?
Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you for your service this month and every month. We appreciate it, your volunteer work. Mr. Hartman, do you have a report for us this evening?
I do.
Okay.
I do. All right. And then ready for one better. I'm coming through. All right. I have a quick report on a couple of items. One is just an update. I talked to the county attorney regarding
mandatory garbage pickup, the progress that the county is making on that, and was advised that they're interviewing service providers, getting preliminary rates from them, or costs in order to develop preliminary rates, and that they're still in the information gathering process, and that staff has not formulated a formal recommendation to the commission, the county commission yet. The reason I mention this is that we have talked about also in the past, a number of times this has come up before the commission as to whether or not to go to mandatory garbage pickup in the city. And with the county, this is the first time the county's really attacked that issue, and whether or not it's a time that the city should also revisit that issue. In the past, it's been a mixed bag as far as folks for and against, but it's probably about time it comes up again. So just for everybody to be aware of it, and I'll stay on top of what the county's doing, but certainly it may be something that the city wants to consider also to kind of stay in step with the county.
Is that the kind of thing we could do a workshop on?
We definitely could. Yep. Because we have, with all the, bear issues, garbage issues, different things we're trying to clean up in the city. It has come up in the past, and just twice during the time I've been city attorney, and both times there was issues regarding independent garbage haulers that were working in the city. My understanding is we do not have those in play any longer, which that was the reason it did not fly before. Everybody saw the logic behind it, but they didn't want to put anybody out of business, basically, the smaller businesses in town. But moving forward, the way it would work typically is we would give an exclusive franchise to one of the bigger waste haulers, and then there would be mandatory garbage pickup in the city. If the commission, and obviously with input from the public, wanted to go that direction. And that seems to be the direction the county's headed. So, the second item is just to update you on, and we have that item, well, it's not on the agenda, but as far as the Hexaport building, what I've been asked to develop at the last meeting and I'm working on is a potential tenant application, a checklist for staff to go through when evaluating an application, a draft form lease that we use that'll differ drastically from the past leases. This will be more of a straightforward commercial lease that the city will use, and a tenant screening process. The staff has looked at using an outside company that's pretty cost effective to screen potential tenants for the space. And and also the idea, and obviously we'll be talking about this at future meetings, of instead of leasing the entire building out to one entity, looking at breaking it up into
We do
4
have
or
this
6.
as an item on the agenda.
Sorry, that's right. So it's on the agenda. We'll talk about it then.
Yeah.
The other item I just wanted to make the commission aware of is I have been going back and forth with Charles Curran, representing Mark Nobles, on trying to resolve a potential claim that he has for some what he's claiming is unpaid salary, or as a 1099 employee for work at the city as the airport manager. And I've been going back and forth with Mr. Curran. The ball was in our court to pull up together some paperwork. Miranda, as finance officer, and the mayor, with the mayor's assistants, pulled together a package of information that I will be forwarding to Mr. Curran. Mr. Curran on behalf of Mr. Nobles. And just to make you aware of it, Mr. Nobles had made a claim for approximately $36,000 of unpaid wages. The package that we're sending back to him is based on just rules, regulations, the law, would actually show a charge to him of $17,000. And what I'm going to do is when I send him that, we're going to negotiate over things, and I think we'll reach a conclusion on that, one way or the other, as far as whether we'll go to court or whether we'll be able to negotiate a settlement amicably But I wanted to make the commission aware of that before I send it over to him. And anybody who has any questions can certainly talk to me now or after the meeting. The other thing is ethics forms. We have, everybody should get in the mail or get it certified, go down and sign for it, to fill out your financial disclosure forms due beginning of July. And if you have any questions, concerns about them, let me know. I'll look at the directions and walk through it together, get it figured out. That's it.
Do y'all have any questions for Mr. Harden? Okay, thank you, sir. And then Ms. Courtney, our city administrator, do you have anything to report?
I just want to report that on May 26th, last Friday, the mayor, Greg, and myself met in Tallahassee. Are they coming in? The architect and Mr. Doug Schuler, and he's here tonight. And we reviewed a conceptual floor plan and a proposal for architectural firm assistance in construction of a new city hall. And Mr. Schuler is here and will be able to answer any questions when it comes up later on the agenda.
Okay. Does anyone have questions for Ms. Courtney? Okay then, and we'll move on to the city clerk, Ms. Keisha.
No, I'll comment under item 4.
Okay. All right. And then I just wanted to mention that we have an ethics training class that Keisha let us know. I think she sent everybody out a notice, and it's available for free on June the 10th, Franklin County Annex, 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. So, and that's good. Instead of in a couple of years past, I had to travel somewhere to Crestview or Tallahassee or something. So this is convenient, June the 10th on Saturday. All right, so we'll move to new business. Item 1, presentation by Ms. Cathy Buell. She's the president of St. George Island SGI Cat Allies, Inc. Discussion to include explanation on how this nonprofit organization traps, neuters, vaccinates, and returns Franklin County free-roaming cats to their original location. Thank you, Ms. Cathy.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. It's a pleasure to be invited to speak to a group, because when we started this effort 2.5 years ago, it was because 14 cats had been abandoned at a foreclosure on St. George Island. They were headed to be euthanized. 80% of all cats that make it to a shelter are euthanized. Now, whether you like cats or not, I think we could agree that fewer free-roaming cats is a good thing. How do we do it in a way that is effective and humane? Well, we're part of a new paradigm shift in how we treat homeless cats. There's a difference between a feral cat and a stray cat. A feral cat will never be socialized. It's the kind of cat that you usually don't see out in the daytime. They don't meow, they don't ask for food, they're very, very shy, and they hide. But they reproduce. They have as many as 3 litters of kittens a year. A cat can have its first litter at 5 months of age. So we understand cats have been living outdoors for 10,000 years. Humans did not introduce cats into the environment. It was in about 1940 when kitty litter was invented that humans decided, hey, I can bring my beloved kitty cat inside to live with me. Some of those cats reproduced. I would guess 98% of those cats reproduced, because back then, spay and neuter was not really thought to be part of anybody's budget. So when we see litter after litter of sick and abandoned kittens, and I remember 15 years ago, my first trip to Apalachicola. By the way, I'm a full-time resident in Apalachicola. I remember down by Boss Oyster, there was an old shed down there. There must have been 30 sick and injured kittens there, but I had no idea what the new approach to helping free-roaming cats is. It's called trap, neuter, return. Not trap, neuter, release. Trap, neuter, return. Trapping the individual cat, the entire colony, having them spayed or neutered and vaccinated. That's another letter we add to the acronym. It's TNVR, trap, neuter, vaccinate, return. And one of the newest
movements in addition to that is to add an M to the end of that acronym. So it's trap, neuter, vaccinate, return, and maintain colonies. In August of 2014, a friend of mine, a real estate agent, said there are 14 cats out on the island at a foreclosure. They're going to be euthanized. What are you going to do about it, Cathy? And I said, well, I'm a dog lover. I have no idea. We made a very awkward effort at rounding these cats up. As it turned out, all 14 ended up at my house on my back porch in individual crates until I built a cat barn. So what we had there was a misguided effort to help these cats, and we didn't help them at all. We just contained them. That didn't do anything to help the population or to start limit the population. And I went online and put in the word feral cat, and what came up were the experts at Cat Allies. It's a national organization that's been doing this for 25 years. And they, along with Operation Catnip over in Gainesville, Florida, University of Florida, they've done 50,000 cats in 25 years, have gone through all of the research and all of the planning and so forth to make this a viable alternative to catch and kill. If catching and killing cats was effective, we know it's expensive. If it was effective, cats would pretty much be extinct. It doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Cats are good at surviving. They're scavengers. And by the way, they're not out there decimating bird populations yet. Yes, they will get an injured or sick bird occasionally, but cats can't fly. Why would cats be accused of decimating songbird populations? Aren't we all bird lovers? I love birds. I do a lot of bird watching. Because these free-roaming cats don't have anybody to stand up for them. They're an easy target. Stop and think about it. The number one decimator of songbird populations is man. Okay, through development, through automobile collisions, many more times than what a feral cat could do. But we're not going to point the finger at developers. We enjoy development. And by the way, developers do donate a lot of money to nonprofits and so forth. So it comes down to, let's blame it on the cats. Well, if you stop and think about it again, cats can't fly. A lot of songbirds are taken out by eagles and other predators. But back to the topic at hand, I would invite you all to come on board with this new paradigm shift. Here's what has happened in Apalachicola. We have, in the last 2.5 years, through donations alone and a little grant here and there, we've been able to trap, neuter, vaccinate, and return 580 local cats at no cost to the property owners. If you want to extrapolate from that and figure out how many litters of kittens that is, good luck. It's a lot. So that's what we do. The unexpected, unintended consequence is it's been a wonderful outreach program. We have a lot of retirees in Apalachicola who enjoy maintaining a colony of cats, knowing, number one, these cats have been vaccinated. They know also that the cats will not reproduce, and through attrition, the colony will diminish down to just a couple of members. The reason cats multiply is you can't get all of them, number one. And the main reason is what we call the vacuum effect. If a colony is completely removed, other cats will move in. If you know anything about cats, you know that they protect their territory. They attach to territory rather than human beings. So they protect it. The reason we're here again is to invite you to come on board. We can help you get started in this. It doesn't cost a bunch of money.
So do you have a video then that you can show us that
Yes.
will demonstrate how you all can help our community? I know we've got several areas that have big populations
Yes.
and groups.
And again, we have a hotline, a voicemail, where people can call in and report colonies. Your first step in helping yourselves, help us help you, would be to get volunteers to identify colonies and call our hotline.
Can you say that number out now?
Yes.
So that it can be on the video here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's 850-370-1125. And I've received numerous calls from Carrabelle the past 6 months. We're in kitten season.
All right, thank you. Here it is. You may have to turn that volume up as high as it
All
will.
cats are domestic animals, but not all cats are domesticated, meaning socialized to humans. The words feral, stray, and pet are adjectives used to describe the cat's relationship to humans. A feral cat is fearful of people and will generally avoid human contact. This is why feral cats usually can't be socialized or adopted as pets. A stray cat, however, is friendly to people and can usually be adopted into a home. Domestic cats came into existence about 10,000 years ago when we first began farming. Cats were attracted to the rodents found near stored grain. Ever since then, cats have lived in close proximity to people. With the invention of cat litter in the 1940s, some people started keeping their cats indoors because they no longer needed to be let out. But the fact is, feral cats were already living outside across the country, as they continue to today. It is common for concerns of depleting bird populations to be misassociated with feral cats. However, all credible research shows that habitat destruction, pollution, and other human factors are responsible for the decline, not cats. Cat Allies research shows there are approximately 82 million pet cats in the United States. Scientists estimate there are an equal amount of cats living outdoors. We do know that outdoor cats live in rural and urban areas and in both warm and cold climates. Feral cats thrive outdoors. In fact, studies show feral cats are just as healthy as cats who have owners. Cats often live near humans and find food and shelter in what we discard. In addition, there are millions of Americans caring for outdoor cats. Cat Allies conducted a national survey and found that over 40% of Americans have fed a stray cat. 1 in 5 have done so in the last year. In fact, nationwide, individuals and cat organizations give daily care to entire colonies of cats, providing food, water, and shelter if needed. For decades, animal control agencies have been rounding up feral and stray cats and killing them. Catch and kill is cruel and is not a solution for an area that has outdoor cats. Simply removing the cats or attempting to relocate them will not keep an area free of cats for long. Cats choose locations based on environmental factors. Other cats will move in, breed, and form a new colony. This is known as the vacuum effect, and it is a documented phenomenon in a variety of animal species throughout the world. Over 70% of cats who enter our nation's animal pounds and shelters are killed. This includes pet cats, stray cats, and feral cats. Feral cats who are not suited to live in human homes are almost always killed. But catching and killing feral and stray cats will not help your community's cats. Decades of these failed practices proves their futility. More importantly, the practices are inhumane. A national survey revealed that over 80% of Americans believe that leaving a stray cat outside to live out her life is more humane than having the cat caught and put down. Many feral cat caregivers carry out trap neuter return, or TNR, to improve the lives of cats they care for. With trap neuter return, all the cats and kittens in a colony are humanely trapped, then vaccinated and neutered. While under anesthesia, the tip of a feral cat's ear is clipped. This is called an ear tip, and it identifies that that cat has been neutered. After the surgery, the feral cats are returned to the location where they were trapped. Adoptable cats and kittens are placed in homes. Trap neuter return improves the lives of each cat by eliminating the stresses associated with mating and pregnancy. Trap neuter return prevents future litters of kittens, therefore stabilizing the population. Once a cat is neutered, spraying, yowling, and fighting, all behaviors associated with mating, will stop, as will many concerns from the neighbors. Female Feral cats can begin having kittens as young as 5 months of age. Neutering kittens at an early age eliminates any chance of an oops litter. Kittens can be safely spayed or neutered when they are 8 weeks old or as soon as they weigh 2 pounds. Spay and neuter services need to be accessible and affordable to the public for owned cats as well as the outdoor cat population. There are isolated municipality and state-based programs that subsidize neuter services for feral cats, but more programs are needed so that all...
Our own Dr. Hobson Fulmer invites in at least once a year 5 other veterinarians, and we are able to spay and neuter. Well, our most we have done is 135 in one day. We have volunteers that help shelter the animals. Of course, our volunteers trap. We go through a very strict protocol. But how would this benefit your community? It's a feel-good kind of way for people to help the community. Visitors don't like to see litters of sick kittens down here. It breaks their hearts. People feed them because they want to help them. But that does help them. It keeps them alive. But unless we spay and neuter them.
So how does your program work, if you could, kind of tell us quickly here now?
Very quickly. We have an ongoing trap neuter operation. People call in, and then with my volunteers, I arrange to go out to the location, get a waiver signed giving us permission to do this. We then have transport opportunity from Spay Bay. It's a standalone spay-neuter clinic in Panama City that actually comes to Apalachicola with a van. It's a nonprofit also. They pick up the cats, 7 a.m., take them to Panama City, spay-neuter them, bring them back that evening. So the logistics of Carrabelle would not be that difficult to get them to and from there. The advantage, I think, is that Franklin County has got to do something about the cost of animal control, especially this component of it, that's not effective. If it was effective, that's one thing, but it hasn't proven to be. Any questions?
Just say your hotline number one more time.
850-370-1125. Thank you very much.
All right, I thank you very much for coming. You're welcome to stay, but I know you all may have things to do, so however it works out for you. Thank you. Okay. All right. We'll move on then to item 2, discussion of possible action regarding Michael Pace, Lost Treasure Sign and Design, requesting to maintain a city-owned billboard at Sands Park in turn for advertising his business on the small bottom panel portion of the main billboard at Sands Park. I don't see Mr. Pace here this evening, but
I would move that we go ahead and approve that. I think it needs to be done, and his deal is very good. He would do the sign in exchange for just being a label on the bottom of advertising his business.
okay. So we'll have discussion. We have a motion to. How do you want to word your motion?
To approve the agreeing for him to do the sign under condition with his small tab that would advertise his business. That's what he's asking for here.
Okay. So we have a motion by Commissioner Allen. Do we have a second? Okay. All right. So now we have a second by Commissioner Walden. Do we have any discussion? And we do need to have discussion. All right. We'll let the attorney talk on this one.
This issue come up at the last meeting. I did look into it from both state law and our sign ordinance perspective. This sign would have to be fully permitted through DOT and everything else. We cannot, there's a number, I mean, it's the commission's will that a sign like this go up. We have to meet all the requirements as if it were basically a private sign.
Sure.
So we can't, it cannot be and. And it's unfortunate Mr. Pace isn't here because I understand from him, essentially he wanted to, it was kind of it, donate the sign. It would be on city property, and he would have his small advertisement in the corner. Any advertisement at all on it is the reason it has to jump through all the hoops that a private billboard sign would. And with it being located on city property, and we got to talk about that also, meaning usually if someone puts a private billboard on city property, I don't know that we have any of that as far as off-site advertising is a problem, and we would have to charge for that. And I know that's not the scenario that he was thinking. That's the thing. We really need to talk to him, I would think, a little more, because it's not, even if we approve something like this today, legally we'd have to jump through a number of hoops that would sort of change it into something that he's not really offering, is the concern I've got.
And I would want to know who would pay for the permitting, who is going to go through that permitting process and pay for that. Would that be you, Mr. Hartman, and your attorney fees, and then who's going to pay for the actual permit, but it may only be $10 a year, I don't know. And like you mentioned rent, our CPA has informed us earlier or last year on another issue that a government entity cannot give credit or give anything free in lieu of receiving a payment or some, or in lieu of some task done instead of receiving payment. So the way I'm understanding it, if we had the billboard and it was permitted so that we could do advertising, because the Florida statute 479.16 says, any kind of messages that are on a municipally owned billboard, any kind of message that specifically reference any commercial enterprise can't be allowed. So it has to be permitted. And once we do that, we'll have to start charging rent, and we'll have to have invoices and contracts, just like any other billboard that leases out. They'll have a contract for a lease term, and the contract will have to be drawn up, and then rent will have to be charged, and invoices that have to be issued. So, it just seems like it's a little more complicated than what we thought in the first place.
Maybe it would be helpful to let Mr. Pace know that the commission wants to work with him, but he needs to come back and we can talk to him about what the hoops that we've got to jump through. We can see if it's still something he wants to try and pull off.
Well, could we just say pending working out those details?
Is he wanting to amend the motion?
Yeah, and sorry, the thing to do would probably be to vote on the motion, and again, having just gone through the parliamentary motions here, is that obviously the motion as it stands, we'd run into a bunch of legal issues. And then my recommendation would be that we ask Mr. Pace to come to the next meeting, put it on the agenda for the next meeting, walk him through. I can, in even more detail, tell him this is how it would work, because I think from his last presentation, it's going to be something that he may reconsider. I mean, he may say, well, I'll just do a sign on my own in a different location or something else.
He would have that right, yeah.
Yeah, he totally would. So we don't want to waste his time or ours if it's not something he wants to do. That makes sense?
We do need a sign there, or that would take it down, because it's absolutely just a eyesore as it is. So should we amend it now, or go ahead and...
Actually vote on this, and then if you want to vote to table it until the next meeting, that would be the follow-on motion. You would want to vote on this motion, and of course I'm recommending that you vote it down simply because it would cause us issues.
So then we have a motion by Commissioner Allen to approve the sign as Mr. Pace requests, with a second by Commissioner Walden. And now we've had discussion, so I'm going to call for a vote on that. And I would vote no on that approval.
Okay, did you ask for the ayes?
Excuse me, anybody in favor?
Aye.
No, I'm not in favor. No, so we have 2 noes, not in favor, and 1 by Commissioner Allen who is in favor. And then any opposed? I oppose. And Paz and Walden oppose. So the motion does not carry. And do we want to have a table, a motion to table this discussion and ask Mr. Pace to please come forward next month?
I would motion that we table this.
Now, let's have discussion. Is that, since we motioned that approval down, is it correct for us to table this discussion again, or you want to just?
I mean, I know what you're saying as far as this president, but I think so. I think
Okay.
just asking that, even if it's a motion to put this on the agenda for next month, but I think, I hear what you're saying. It may not be the correct term to say it's
Yes.
table because we just did dispose of it. But so a motion to bring this issue back before the commission and request Mr. Pace to attend.
All right. So-
Sorry, Cal. Just simply a motion to.
Well, now, we've made a motion and a second.
All right, vote that one down too.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So, motion to table the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
I think I'm voting no. Any opposed? Aye. Okay. All right. So now, we want to have a motion to put this on the agenda next month. And we want to ask Mr. Pace to come forward.
I'll make that motion to put it on the agenda next month with Michael being the president.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Allen to put this item on the agenda next month, and a second by Commissioner Walden. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Okay, we'll have to watch the video on this one. Okay. We'll move on to item 3, presentation regarding speedster motor cars.
They set the microphone up.
Thank you.
My name is Michael Akins. I'm here to
Well, we're
talk
close, so we can-
talk a little bit about my company, Speedster Motor Cars, and my interest in 247 Airport Road.
You're going to have to speak just a little louder so we can all.
Okay, so you know where.
Yes.
Okay, we are a replica automobile manufacturing company for over 40 years, and also a classic car restoration. And we're very involved in antique auctions, classic car auctions 4 times a year, which was the car auction. And we would like the interest if your building is coming up for lease, I would like to know about it. Questions? At this point,
You're
we just
interested,
need to
you're
know. We're
interested in the building.
yes.
Uh-huh. Well, we're glad you're interested in it.
Okay.
We're glad to, have some interest. It just came available about 5 weeks ago, so we really haven't had a good opportunity
And I
to
understand
discuss
that.
it.
Okay, thank you for listening.
Okay, does anyone have questions?
How much space would you need?
Well, our last manufacturing company was 30,000 square feet, so if we was to do that and the auctions, we'd probably need 67,000.
You say your last manufacturing company was
30,000.
30,000
Yeah, that's
square
not
feet?
yes, not including the auctions.
Have you
we leased it.
done auctions before?
Oh, yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
What kind of auctions?
Classic car auctions and events with car shows and swap meets.
Where did you do that?
Biloxi, the car
Biloxi?
auction, yeah.
And it was Speedster Motor Cars doing the auctions in Biloxi?
No,
Oh.
Bakari auction. Yeah, Bakari auction.
Oh, Bakari,
Yeah, it's
yes,
in the
I'm
network,
familiar
yeah.
with
Yeah.
Bakari.
P.
Are
Bakari.
you associated with
Yes.
them?
Mhm.
How are you associated? How are you associated with Bakari car auction?
As far as what?
Do you work for them?
No, we
Oh.
don't. We hold the events with them. Yeah.
You hold it against
Yeah.
them?
Mhm.
All right.
You've seen our building out there, is that right?
I've seen it from the gate, you know.
From the
I haven't
gate.
been inside. I'd like to if I get a chance to, you know. I'd like to see it inside, yeah.
And I think you have something here about the amount of space you needed.
Yeah, we would need the whole building. That's our interest, you know. If it wasn't the whole building, we wouldn't be interested. Yeah.
You know, we had a discussion last meeting, I believe, Tim, you brought a fellow in that thought that that building would be excellent for fly-in people to come in. And I think you even mentioned that in your letter here, do you not?
What's that?
That the proximity to the airport would be a real asset.
Real asset, yes. A lot of our customers have planes, you know, that would be great. The option to be able to fly in.
And not only cars, you also do antique boats.
Antique boats, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have any pictures of the boats?
No, I don't, but I can sort of.
I've always thought we needed a boat building place here, but
Right.
I wasn't thinking of antiques. I was thinking more about the work boats that the folks around here use. But it is a
We do classic.
it is
boats.
a great boating place. And,
For sure, yeah.
How'd you find out about our building?
Well, actually, came through here in '89, and I said, someday I'm going to move here, and then the opportunity is now good. So I'm actually moving here anyways, but I feel it's a good place to be able to have a classic car auction. You know, people from Alabama, Valdosta, Tallahassee would come.
Where are you moving from?
Clearwater,
Clearwater.
yeah, a mess. Too much traffic.
Yeah. Pretty big
No, trust
trip.
me, it's worth it. I've been there for 50 years, so.
Does anyone have any more questions?
How many people you plan on employing?
Well, from 2001 to 2007, we had 60 people. Right now, we have 10. 6 of them are coming with me. I don't think I'd get build that many people up at this point in time, but probably within 5 years, 40. It just depends, the economy, you know.
the people that work for you, do they need special training to work with? You work with fiberglass and
We build our own bodies,
plasma
our frames,
cans.
we build the whole car, pretty much everything, yeah. And so some talented people and some not, you know, but the various help us a lot, you know.
Where is your business now? Where is it?
800 Bel Air Road in Clearwater, but we sold the building and July 1st we're out.
Oh, 800 Bel Air Road?
Correct.
And Clearwater,
Clearwater,
selling
Florida.
the building?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, well, and you did that because you were just anticipating on moving?
We're moving up here no matter what, yeah.
Are you looking at another spot? I mean, I'm not.
Not really
understanding.
at this point. I'm going to see and decide what you guys think. If you're going to lease the building and if it's not going to work or you don't think I'm going to be the perfect fit, then I'll go on to another spot. Or build a building. I'm not sure yet.
And so you're 800, were you, you had a big building like we have here, 65,000 square feet?
No, 30.
30,000.
And that was in Largo, Florida. But we moved out of that in 2007 and downsized the building we're in.
did you do the auctions down there on that other building?
No, we actually rented different areas at different times of the year, yeah. But Biloxi is our main thing, the car, you know.
But that looks like that'd bring a lot of people into our.
It would, and he's ready to fly in here and look at the building and get together with me, but obviously he can't do that until the sits with me.
I understand you also are in the parts business for those people around the country that need repairs and.
All around the world, 50% of our business is overseas and 50% here.
Sounds like a good business to me. Like to do the due diligence and see what we need to do, get a proposal and come to, I think we're going to be talking about that later on in our meeting about what we can do with the building.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you for listening.
All right, thank you for coming. We appreciate it, we really do.
I like your car out there. That,
Thank you.
can we drive it?
Okay.
Can I take it to the woods? She won't even let me take our van to the woods, so.
All right. Thank you, sir. Okay, item 4, discussion and possible action regarding the 4th of July fireworks. We had a discussion last month, but we didn't take action, and Keisha's done some research work. She'll tell us about it.
I spoke to the firework provider from last year, and he said that he would be able to do it for the $5,000 budget on Saturday, July 1st, if we wanted to have it on Saturday. If we wanted to have it on the 4th, it would be about $15,000 from another company.
And I did talk to another company, Salvo Pyrotechnics, for that $15,000 is pretty standard on the 4th of July. So,
We've been getting a good deal here lately.
yeah. So are you all interested in having the fireworks on Saturday? I will tell you, I wrote to all the other cities in the area. South Chalky, Port St. Joe, and Weewar are having their 4th of July fireworks on the 4th of July on Tuesday. And Appalachia is having theirs on Monday, on the 1st. And if we did have ours on a different day, like Saturday, we
have it to ourselves.
Yeah, but we could advertise, that now folks in the area and locals and visitors could visit and see 3 different nights of fireworks.
Independence Week.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could have, they could come down and stay the weekend and
Go to South Chalky, Appalachia, Carrabelle, whatever, see.
we have the 5,000 in the budget already. We just don't have the 15.
So I move that we set it up
For Saturday.
for the Saturday.
I would suggest that this would be a one-time only for the July 1st, because next year we want to go back to the 4th of July report discuss.
Well, we'll just make the motion to do it on the July 1st this year.
Okay, that's good, I think. So we have a motion to do it this July 1st this year, 2017, 4th of July fireworks for $5,000 from Commissioner Allen. Okay, we have a second by Commissioner Walden. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. Okay, thank you very much.
Lois, can you make sure that gets
Yes, I can.
mentioned?
I certainly will.
So that's Saturday, July the 1st, 4th of July fireworks in Carrabelle, and we'll put that out on our Facebook pages. Try to get it on our websites. All right, here we go now. Item 5, discussion of possible action concerning future uses, marketing, and associated documents related to the export building. And Mr. Hartman touched on this a little bit earlier in his report, but I would say that it's our obligation in the best interest of the citizens of Carrabelle and the interest of Carrabelle's most valuable asset, that building out there, for us to perform due diligence and due process and conduct transparent business practices when we're marketing this property. Courtney had mentioned earlier that we need to determine a name for the building, possibly name it, instead of referring to the Hexport building. I don't know what else to refer to. Hexport building systems built it. We need to determine a market value of that also before we get any contracts finalized or anything.
We could have some of our real estate people that could do the research on what the going rate on an industrial property of that nature is, and maybe get 3 or 4 offers or bids, and then maybe come up with some kind of an average on it.
We could also talk with the DEO, Department of Economic Opportunity. Mr. Hartman has a contact where they could list it on that site, for available inventory, but you might be able to talk to that fellow with the DEO and find out what are the rates for square footage of large manufacturing buildings like that. But so you're gonna develop for us then. You said some checklist regarding evaluating the potential tenants and commercial lease application.
Yes, a lease, checklist, application, and then the application would go to the screening company that'll screen folks. That way it'll take a little bit of it off staff, have them run credit. Just run through the screening process. Obviously the big push from the city's perspective is, for the first time, we're out from under the long-term ground lease that we entered into when the building was built. So we've had 2 experiences that were less than optimal, and the goal is to have the next experience be something totally different and successful. And one of the things, and we just heard from Speedster Motor Cars regarding a need for the entire facility, and that's all obviously one way to go, and maybe the way to go. The other idea that's been bounced around is to break it up into however many, but it could be 2, it could be 4, but smaller sections of space, so that we're not putting all of our eggs in one basket with tenants. We don't try to avoid again a repeat of this of what we've been through for a long time, 8 years.
Okay, well, that is something that to discuss and to consider dividing up the building, because it's a huge building, 65,000 square feet. You divide it into 6 spaces, that'd be almost 11,000 square feet per tenant. And if then you're not relying on one tenant to provide all the employees or to pay all the rent, and if one falls behind, you're still collecting from the others. So that's something that we need to give some consideration to.
Well, one of the problems we've had, and it stayed empty for how many years after the export people left?
Sat empty.
4 or 5
Yeah,
years.
sitting empty is not an option either.
They're not standing at their door for that. So,
yep.
We've got a good deal we need to look at.
That's true.
Absolutely.
But actually, this is the first time in 9 years that the city's been able to have their hands on
Exactly.
that. When the time that you're talking about that it was empty, that was under the control of Centennial Bank. And we're not really sure. They said they were marketing it, but we don't know, for sure that was number 1 on their priority. They had the city's best interests in mind when they were had control of that.
And I did have some involvement during that time, as far as when we were trying to evict the tenant at that time. And I dealt with the commercial realtor that had it, that Centennial had given it to the market. He was at Fort St. Joe, legitimate realtor, pretty darn favorable lease, from a tenant's, not from the city's perspective, but from a tenant's perspective. And there wasn't a lot of interest. And that's what Commissioner Allen's talking about, that's why it sat vacant. I'm not sure, this is my personal opinion, but I'm not sure the city would have had any more luck if we had control of it at that time leasing it. It would have been just as difficult Centennial had a lot bigger, longer reach than we had, and they hired a legitimate commercial broker to try and lease it. He couldn't do it. You know, it's really the city that found the second tenant. And, you know, it didn't work out, but it was not that commercial realtor or Centennial Bank. We had as much hand in finding the second tenant as the broker did, period. So we've got to bear that in mind, that when it sits, it deteriorates, and, you know, we are better off with someone else in there and paying insurance and keeping it up and everything else.
I lease my building and I pay my rent, buy my insurance, and then I run my business. And it's a great relationship, and that's the beauty of, you know, the leasing. It's like owning it, except you don't own it. So.
For the Hexaport building, Courtney's been working on getting the property secured, better secured. Then I mentioned we need to name the building, and I think we should develop a checklist to have the building inspected. We need to have the fire marshal out there to inspect it, you know, repairs and improvement to the building itself, make sure the fire suppression system is working. You know, what are we going to do with all the stuff that's in the building? We've talked about that before. We need to figure out how to dispose that. We need to make a detailed list on anything that's in that building that will belong to the city, any equipment, trade equipment, or anything that will belong to the city. So we've got, you know, a few things that we need to handle before we, you know, I think move forward. But first of all, I feel like we should probably have a motion to direct the attorney to go ahead and complete the documents he's mentioned and bring those to us, present those at the next month's meeting for our review and discussion.
I'll make that motion then.
Is there any more discussion on that item, on the attorney completing the lease-related documents? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, then that motion carries. And I just want to review again that we need to take some consideration on how we're going to get that building in leasable condition and what we're going to do to it. I don't know if we need to discuss that now or we'll discuss that next month. Or maybe Courtney can come up with some ideas on how to get that property in a leasable condition of what we're going to do to it, present it next month to us. All right, is there any more discussion on this item? All right, okay then. We'll move forward to old business. Item number 1, discussion and possible action concerning speed calming devices on the 300 block of East Meridian Avenue. This was tabled last month. We had discussion from residents along Meridian regarding excessive vehicle speeds, youngsters playing in the street on various toys and blind driveways. The attorney mentioned he was going to check the Florida statute on health, safety, and welfare regarding speed tables and how it relates to that. And there was a question regarding the requirement of certifications, sending out certified notifications, the number and the radius of the area if we had to do that. We did bring it before the CRA board to ask if they would leverage some funding to help pay for it in the next budget year, but I didn't get a response from the board. You know, it was just mentioned. We have to bring that up during our budget time, as we will have to bring it up here during our budget time because it was reported by Mr. Inovia that it could be somewhere between $6,400 to $9,600, about $3,200 per table, speed table. So we'll have to, however it works out, can't be funded today. So, Courtney, do you have a report on this?
Can you hear me? I just want to report that we got the sign from the sheriff's department that tells you your speed when you come by, and it records it. And right now, we've got it sitting on the east end of Meridian Street, and we're gonna leave it there for a week or so and record the speed of the people that are coming by. Then we're gonna move it to the west end of Meridian Street, and we're gonna record and see how many of them are going over 30 miles an hour. So we'll have a better report on that next month, and we'll know what speeds are being traveled along that street and which end of that street.
Okay, and I had mentioned to the chief that, and I would just suggest for now, this is something that we'll have to research on the speed limit over on Southeast 3rd Street, right by Sands Park on the east side. There's a hill, you go up the hill there, and it's 15 miles an hour up that hill on both sides. If we can possibly lower the speed limit in there in that area right now to 15 miles an hour with a little panel underneath the sign that says strictly enforced, and then that would allow citations to be issued at 21 miles an hour. They can issue citations 6 miles per hour over what the speed limit is. We should send that out to the public. And then they mentioned blind driveways to place some signage, there on both sides of the hill that there's blind driveways ahead, and then increase the police surveillance and have them issue citations for speeding, and take a couple of citations. And then as the budget, when we start in our budget hearings, we'll see if we can work it into the budget and then vote on it. I'm just trying to figure out, a strategic plan, some way to get it calmed down over there for now, for the summertime. Any comments from anyone?
So we're really talking about 300 block of East Meridian, that's on the agenda, so there's nothing we can do about that tonight?
Well,
Have you done some work on that with some figures?
Just from a cursory standpoint, to determine the number that would be required and possible placement. But I do understand there's some, if you decide to put in the table, if there are some notification requirements that need to take place ahead of that time. I believe Mr. Hartman is aware.
Can you find out if two would do it, one up the hill and one down the hill, depending on which way you're going?
Yes.
Because you don't need one at the top.
Yes, we could put some more thought into where those might be located.
That'd be the
to
economic.
avoid driveways and actually work to mitigate speeding. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, okay, that's it. You're good. So basically, we've got to wait till budget time.
In between now and then, though, do you all have a problem with possibly lowering the speed limit there so that they can, keep it down to 20, 25 miles an hour in the area? She'll have a report next week.
It's an idea, but when we do that, Mr. Attorney, doesn't that get involved in the state?
Yeah.
Or is our home rule power cover that?
And sounds like, and we've talked about this outside of meeting, is just we're gathering all this additional information and trying to determine exactly budget, obviously the money, whether we're actually going to move ahead with this or not. And then I'll nail down just what you're saying as far as exactly what we have the authority to do and which we need authority from DOT.
Yeah, the authority for speed limit modification.
Exactly. Yeah, and that is, we would need to understand we got to apply for that. We can't just.
And where we put stop signs, all that stuff gets done.
Yeah, we need to, and sort through that once we know what we're going to do.
Okay, so what I'm asking is there something that we can do to lower the common traffic now at this time? Like,
I mean, I think that's what we talked about doing with the speed sign that we have out there and all that. Usually the point of that is not just to gather data for us, but it's a big sign. I mean, it slows people down in theory. And we can't leave it there, but also it's going to tell us, do we really have a problem there or not? So do then we want to spend money, and if we say, yes, we're going to spend $50,000 on 4 speed tables, then once we get to that point, then I'll spring into action as far as spending money with an attorney to determine what all the requirements are. But in talking about it, didn't want to spend the money on the attorney and then reach a conclusion, hey, we don't need them.
okay, so
So the chicken and egg.
all right, we'll wait till next month to see if the speeding is happening and how much is happening, to see if we even need to put signs like blind driveways or anything.
Yeah, reduce speed limits, put tables in, like exactly what the fix is. Because I don't want to research tables when we do signs. I don't want to research signs if we do tables.
Yeah.
We don't want to go through all that work and everybody look at me and think the attorney's just doing research to do research.
All right then, do we need to have this item on the agenda again next month to hear Courtney's report on that? Or can she report that under her staff report?
Either way, I think she can report it under her staff report fund.
Is that all right with everyone? Okay. All right then, is there any more discussion on this item? Okay, we'll move on to item 2 under old business, our normal discussion and possible action concerning relocation of City Hall. And just start out by asking the city attorney if he's had any follow-up communication with the school board attorney.
I have had some follow-up. We've gone, as you know, we've gone back and forth with different offers, back and forth, and these are all attorney to attorney offers. So, and as we both know, whether it be school board or the city, we would need board approval on either end. The latest offer for discussion or consideration by us is that they would relocate to the field house, the nest operation, and they would like us to deed them back the gym property. So we literally agree on a dividing line there for the gym. We would quit claim that piece back to them, and we would contribute $50,000 to fixing up the field house for their use. And we would then be, we would no longer have any obligation as to the school board, the nest, that sort of thing.
Okay. They want back the gym, you said too?
They want back the gym.
Okay. And who would do, there would be a survey involved, right?
Yep, there would be a survey that would draw a line on the, and we'd have this whole area surveyed. Roddenberry did it. He could do the division probably in the office. There wouldn't be that much expense associated with the survey. So a lot of it would be office work. And then we do have other, call it minor issues regarding the lease, regarding parking, and that sort of thing that we can work through. I have not talked to her about those specifics. So the parking in front of the gym, right now we have a shared parking agreement, but that parking serves this building as well as the gym. So we would probably want to hang on to some of that parking, or at least the right to use that parking. And now would be the time to tidy up any loose ends. The portables that are out back of this building, that sort of thing. Anything, you know, yeah, now's the time.
So then we would need a new agreement from them, basically, or an amendment.
Very short new agreement.
An amendment to the agreement that would release us from the obligations surrounding the nest, deed the gym portion back.
Yep. Deal with parking.
The parking, the portables, okay. So that you say contribute $50,000.
Yep.
Are they wanting to conduct the oversee the repairs of the field house themselves, or?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Okay, so they would want a
Check for $50,000.
$50,000. Then we would have to have a pretty solid agreement on a timeline that they would have their repairs done. Would we pay upfront? Do we pay in payments?
I can certainly address that with them, but from our perspective, however we make that payment and they agree to accept it, the field house is on leased property, and really what that is, because of, if they, from this offer, are electing to do it, that they're move the nest of the field house, it's really just $50,000. I mean, it's a $50,000 payment to basically remove the nest issue from the city's responsibility, just take away that responsibility from the city. Is what we had talked about otherwise is providing space here in the Bay Area, is that we would fix up space for the nest there. And that would not cost us $50,000, I don't think, but it would cost us something.
The release of this obligation, does that include utility provisions regarding utilities?
It would. I mean, that would be our position.
Now, if y'all remember, we did send an offer to them that we would put $50,000 into repairs of the field house. We did. So I don't know, do y'all have questions?
I don't remember that.
And we've sent back and forth a number of offers, but one of our past offers was to spend $50,000 fixing up the field house, and they would move into it.
But that's on the leased property, not on the property that we actually own.
Correct. We would spend $50,000 fixing up the field house on the leased property.
So that's being generous on our part when we really have no obligation to do that.
We do not have an obligation to do that. Correct.
But we do have an obligation to maintain a facility and utilities to the nest in perpetuity.
As long as we're in this building.
Correct.
But then,
Not in perpetuity, it's in this building as long as we're in this building.
So we would just move out and leave the nest, put the nest out on the street? Is that what you're saying? We move, we put the nest on the street?
Well, that's a terrible way to put it, but we would not, the county would be able to take care of it, and it would be their obligation to provide the nest if we move the building.
But, and actually, understand this, is what we've talked about this in the past, my interpretation of the contract is that we agreed to provide space for the nest in this building while City Hall is here. What we have told the school board, which is our position, is, hey, if we demo this building, then that obligation, we don't have that obligation any longer. If we maintain this building for any purpose or reason or anything else, we really don't want to maintain it just for 2,000 or 3,000 square feet of nest. So we would move them to the Bay building, if that were the case. But no, but now when I say that, that's my legal interpretation. The attorney for the school board does not agree. She believes that we have an obligation to maintain the nest, period. I mean, they wanted us to move the nest with City Hall wherever we moved it.
And what evidence have they presented that that's the way?
As lawyers always do, we're both pointing to the same document, two different interpretations.
I know. You lawyers are.
I know.
But it's just put a heavy burden on us, because, we're having 50,000 here, 50,000 there.
And do remember, we did make an offer to them that this board approved, or authorized me to take to them, which was, we will spend $50,000 fixing up the field house for your use. The gym was not part of that discussion then. From their perspective, they're basically adding the gym onto it, onto what our offer was to them. Now, and when I say this, our counteroffer could be, hey, we'll take on the first $50,000 of renovations on the field house. But in essence, they would, I think, would call call us out and say, hey, you're going to spend $50,000, why not just let us give it to us? We'll take care of this. If we are going to spend that money, it's probably easier to let them deal with it, not us.
And we will have to spend some money on the bay building to house them. But then if we house them in the bay building, we'll still be responsible for utilities and maintenance of the building. So we could make a counter offer since they want the gym. I'm just suggesting that.
But for the record, I would not want to put the nest out on the street in answer to your question. But I would like to see them taken care of, but I believe that's the county's responsibility once we leave this building.
If you all do have a counter offer that you want me to convey, and put you on the spot, obviously we can talk about this again 30 days from now, but if you have a counter offer, let me know where it is and I'll take it to them. If you want time to think about it, that's our prerogative also.
We'll give the gym back fair and square with no money involved. They had the gym. How about that?
Well, if that's what you want to do.
And I hate to keep talking about
It's just
this.
sitting over there going to waste right now.
I kind of, obviously, in our conversation, I brought that up. That, hey, you're asking for a valuable piece of property and you want that. Your response was, hey, you're tearing it down anyway. We're doing you a favor, so you don't have to spend money to tear it down. So just understand, I mean, I like the counter and I'm happy to make it, but I kind of I did go down that road a little ways. But I'll go down it again. No, their response was, hey, you're going to have to tear it down anyway. We're doing you a favor. We're saving you money versus you giving us something that has value.
The deal is, we keep the boys and girls club, this one cost us $150,000 in the long run.
Yeah.
If I build it back here, I've been here, it takes $20,000 to $25,000 to get it up. You got to pay utilities, then you've got the liability of there's children on this property. It's our liability.
And the maintenance.
What was it we paid for this building?
They gave it to us.
Gave it to us?
Yep.
Why don't we just give it back to them and let them do it?
We tried that. We tried that also.
That didn't work.
They don't want it back.
If they don't want it, that's their problem.
They want a bus barn.
You can't give it to them. They won't accept it. If we can't give it, we can't force it back on them.
They gonna make a bus barn out of it.
But it could cost us, $800 a month in utilities back there.
You know what?
Easy.
Can I suggest something here? Maybe is if you all would consider this, designating one of the three of you to be someone I can talk to when I talk to the board attorney, work through offers, get back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because that'll bring this to a conclusion quicker. Obviously, we can't bind whoever you designate, and myself cannot bind the city commission, but then we can bring back whatever we've negotiated out with them, and obviously myself and the commissioners who I'm working with, or mayor, can try to persuade the other commissioners that, hey, this is what we recommend. The thing I don't like about this is we're in an open meeting and we're talking about negotiation. It puts us at a disadvantage negotiating because we're showing all of our cards while negotiating at the same time. And I'm not saying it's just, it slows it down, and it's just, we would get to a conclusion, I think, quicker, having a designated board, a commission member working to at least a point where we have a deal that we can recommend to the commission for approval. Doesn't mean the commission approves it, but if we're not negotiating against ourselves in an open meeting.
No, I understand that. I agree with you. I don't like to have to negotiate, amongst ourselves and against ourselves in public. It's a shame. Since we had already voted to commit to repairing the field house.
And We did make that offer. I mean, we did offer
we did.
50,000 in repairs out there.
Last November, sometime around there.
So, I mean,
And I'll look that up.
we're close. I mean, I think we're right at the point where we can strike a deal here. We were pretty far apart to start with. We're pretty close right now. And we probably shouldn't let too much grass grow.
I know it, I don't
Get
want
it
to
wrapped
lose
up.
the opportunity. Those opportunities
We need something to put this thing to rest.
that we do. I don't want to put the youngsters out
That
in the
process
street
of
either.
trying to get City Hall to do it, we need to get out from under that obligation of that one group. So let's do it. It's gonna cost us. It's gonna cost us something. It's gotta be done. Or we don't be running for the patrol club next 30, 40 years. We gotta do it.
Is anyone interested in working with Mr. Hartman?
I don't blame you if you're not, but designate someone who's not here.
Our mayor seems to do a good job in negotiating.
I said I would work with him.
Okay, Mr. Allen, Commissioner Allen. Fine with me too. I've
You
been
would- you would
to them
think-
already.
I'll make a
Try to
motion.
negotiate.
I make a motion to inform Mr. Allen to work with you, negotiate with the school board.
Can Commissioner Allen second that motion?
Sure.
Yes. I said.
Okay, so Commissioner Walden made a motion for Commissioner Allen to work with the city attorney to negotiate with the school board, and Commissioner Allen second. Is there any more discussion on that part of this agenda item? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. And then y'all report back to us next month, and hopefully we'll have the full board on, so we can make a decision. So at the May 4th regular meeting, this commission approved for Mr. Large to begin preliminary site planning immediately after the survey and topographic map were received by the administrator. We introduced the facility needs questionnaire. It was distributed to affected staff, and that was completed. It was also distributed to commissioners, our portion that affected commissioners. Some commissioners returned, some commissioners did not. Are the commissioners that did not return, are they interested in participating or not in the facility needs questionnaire? Just want to make sure everyone has an opportunity. So we have some that are not interested. On May the 8th, I met with Jay Bosworth of Sperry Metal Buildings in Tallahassee. If it appears in the future that we're interested in a metal building, I'll report on that meeting. On May the 9th, the administrative staff, the chief, and I toured the Sopchoppy City Hall. I reported on that earlier. On the 15th, survey and topographic map of the new location came in from Roddenberry. On the 16th, Courtney, Greg, and I met with Russell here at City Hall regarding conceptual floor plan and footprint on the new location and preliminary meeting with the architect at that time. And then as Courtney reported on May the 26th, we met with Mr. Doug Schuler, who's here tonight in Tallahassee, to review the preliminary footprint and his proposal. So at this point, I'll ask Greg to come on up and present the conceptual floor plan that's been approved by staff at this point.
All right, Greg Christopherson. Previously, I mentioned to Courtney that I had 20 years experience in Atlanta with computer design and space planning and office situations. And so Courtney sent me a copy of a floor plan that came from a sketch of changes that she made to a floor plan that Mexico Beach was planning on doing with the police station, but it was larger than what they needed, so they went with another floor plan. But anyway, she used that as a starting point. And so I worked real close with Courtney and staff and Chief Huntings several times and developed a floor plan Originally, it was 7,300 square feet, which is what the Mexico Beach floor plan was. And then I reduced it down to 5,600. And then we reduced it down again down to 5,300 square feet. And the conceptual plan is the one that you have in front of you, and it has everything that's all of the it's drawn to scale, and all of the furniture, not all of it, but most of the furniture that is currently in their offices is placed in that plan. The meeting room chairs are in the meeting hall. All of those interior hallways are 4 feet, with the exception of the one that goes directly through the building, and that's 5 feet wide. And the police department has 2 secure entry exits. And I've worked with the water and sewer clerk and the finance clerk. They sometimes work together and design a little workstation where they can share that space, and they're happy with that. Commission chamber is 1,160 square feet compared to 2,415, which is what this room is. And it'll seat 60 attendees and 5 commissioners and 4 staff members. And the proposed records room is proposed 252 square feet, and currently they have 151 square feet. The break room at present, the new proposed is 97.5 square feet, and currently they have 76.5 square feet. It just also has a breakout conference room, an attorney office, and a commission office, and also has rooms in the police department that are necessary for what they have for some of their storage needs. So I've met with them several times over the past few months, and everyone seems to be pleased with it. I also reviewed this with Russell Large and Doug Schuler, and they think that it's a workable plan. There's some few kinks to work out. We were still looking at possibility of a staircase going up to an attic, or and then maybe an additional emergency exit in the commission chambers, and then comm rooms and mechanical rooms that need to be worked out a little better too. So, but other than that, overall everybody seems to like it, and it's just about the size that they need, I think. So, anybody have any questions?
Does anyone have questions? We want to put this out for the audience to take a look at it. Would you?
My drawing has writing all over it, but just got some extra ones.
Some coordinating has, you know, if anyone wants to take a look, that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Oh, and my rate is $0 per hour, which is normally 50.
Appreciate it. So you said your rate was how much? $0 per hour? All right, so did y'all have any questions for Greg on this? I know the public just got a quick look. Did y'all have any questions at this quick moment, or we can come back to that? We'll move forward and ask Mr. Russell Large to present the preliminary site plan with this footprint on it.
Thank you. We have developed a preliminary site plan. We actually took a look at floodplain issues, which I'll discuss briefly. The floodplain elevation here is elevation 15. The existing ground here is where the building would be situated, so elevation 13. So we would be required to have a finished floor at or above that elevation 15. So it's about 2 feet of fill where the building is placed, which is not, thank you, which is not unreasonable at all. And we did plan to have this exhibit available on the big screen, but our technology is not working. So please support. I'd like to show you this on the computer screen, and I'll let you look at it. Place here, 20-foot setback, guys. Incidentally, there is some large trees on this property. There's two 72-inch live oak trees. Those are massive. You don't find those. And a 52-inch magnolia. You don't find those either. But those are nice trees. And this plan actually works around those trees. You can see the circle here that illustrates the critical protections on. It's kind of the drip line or the root zone of the tree. So we stayed away from those areas and were able to accommodate enough parking and the building and the stormwater facility that would be required. So that's our general layout, and we may tweak it as we move forward with the design. But that places the building up at the corner of 98 and 13, exactly on the corner. So it'd be a prominent feature coming into and out of town on US 90.
Have you relocated the sidewalk a little bit?
Yes, provided some on-street parking.
Did you, is that setbacks?
Yes. 20 feet.
That would be the side.
The front. Sorry, no access off 98 directly, only from 13.
And then is this a retaining area here?
It is, yes.
Retention area?
Yes.
Right now, that, for reference, that billboard sign that we have out there, advertising Carrabelle, it's right here. Sorry.
Yeah, so right at about the corner.
Are we closing it out?
That's another subject I was going to bring up. It does need to be closed.
Just that portion there that's joining, where the two properties join, the city owns.
Yes.
Okay. We can discuss that with Dan, where we were waiting to see how.
And that's no issue of city concern. Those are yours. Where is the ditch?
The ditch, right, and you can see some of the contours here, but it kind of reaches up through this area.
And then, are you showing all asphalt and no pervious at this point?
At this point, but that's flexible.
Okay, how many spaces?
These are 30 spaces, actually 30 plus some additional spaces here on the side. Now, we do have two dual driveway entrances. We could eliminate one and expand parking, have some additional parking. We just thought it would work better to have two driveways since it's a linear piece of property.
That's the one I want to take. Okay. Just to kind of, if you can, show that around, that's lovely. Do y'all have any questions? Prepare your questions. I'm sure the public here.
I have a question for Courtney. When I was in the office the other day, you gave an estimated cost of the building itself. It's somewhere around 800 and something.
That's about what we had figured based on.
That's just a off figure. It's not a.
No, that
we'd
was
have
just
to
an
get a-
estimate based on what South Coffee City Hall cost to build, and that's what each hall.
Okay, so that's really a rather vague estimate then.
We did, Mr. Schuler report on it, did give us some cost. Got here somewhere at 146, I think, dollars a square foot.
145.
145, it says 145.
145.
Okay, we have identified some general next steps to move forward, and continue preparing the site plan documents and permitting. We understand that needs to be completed in October. And there was a discussion at one point about scheduling a special meeting in mid-June to discuss the floor plans and architecture. And we've already mentioned abandoning the 25-foot alleyway. And speaking of architecture, I wanted to make sure I introduce properly Mr. Doug Schuler. Worked with Doug on several projects. Great architect. Has an eye for making things look good. And he's available for questions. Doug, would you like to?
Yeah, he wants to come up and make a presentation. We're ready for it. Unless y'all have any more questions for Mr. Russell at this point.
I just have one suggestion here, is,
Just a comment, as you look at the plan that you have developed based on the program needs, and I saw your site plan, it seemed to me that it would make sense to kind of reverse this so that the City Hall was facing out toward 98. I mean, the meeting room was facing out toward 98. The police department would be out that way too, which would put all the city staff and all that stuff on the parking lot side. And then maybe instead of having the entryway in the center of the street, have it be on the corner between the sidewalk and the street, so that it could serve from that end.
The police department needs to be near the parking lot so that they can come and go, and there's secure entrance down there. So that's how that would look like that.
well, there's a way to do it. You don't have to stick to this plan to accomplish all of those goals. So we start with something that's in another place, and I know I can sit down through work list to make it work, just so we get all the things back.
Okay.
On it.
We had it flipped, and then we decided we had it the other way, like Steve was discussing, and we can show you that concept, but we decided to bring it over, bring it this way.
So we were presented with a plan on Friday, and we looked it over, and overall the plan looks really good. I mean, the layout looks really good. There are a few little ADA issues that we can work out. I did talk to the mechanical engineer earlier this week, talked to him about the spatial requirements for the mechanical and electrical room. They are sized quite well. We probably need to do some adjustments to them. But all in all, the layout works. I think Greg mentioned that we do need a door coming out of the commission chamber area. We probably will need to rate the corridors and when I say rate, fire rate, the corridors as well as that commission room. All in all, the building lays out pretty good. There was some discussion in the police department about the interrogation room versus where the storage room would be located, and the materials on the outside of the building. If we have the storage room located on the outside of the building and say we use a material such as hardy, apparently there's some sensitive material in the storage rooms, and you can break into that pretty easily.
We don't want to discuss all of that too much.
Sure.
It's secure.
It's secure.
That's why it's labeled storage.
And we want to make sure it is secure. So we want to make sure the police department understands that, and so that could be a discussion. There was a discussion on the materials of the outside of the building, whether it would be a hardy plank, or it would be a CMU block, or a combination of both. We could introduce stucco, synthetic stucco to the building as well. I think we still want to stay, I think it came to a conclusion that we still want to stay with more of the beach or coastal feel, but have more of a contemporary look with the building as well, with that coastal feel. But definitely that's up to the commission on how they want the building to look, and if you found precedents for other buildings or city commission or city hall buildings that you like, that you could present to me, we could work that in. We want to make sure we stay within the budget as presented to us, but we still want to make it look like a municipal building and really look good to show off to the city of Carrabelle.
I've already been over my huge list of questions with you, so. But does anyone have questions at this point? Now, we haven't formally signed a contract with you at this point.
It's my understanding I would be working through the civil engineer.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yes, but the board has not agreed at this point to, we're just talking now.
Sure.
Has not agreed at this point to hire or to have an architect participate in the project.
Sure. Understood.
So, I'm just talking with the board. I don't want to think that somehow we move forward without including them. And the entire board isn't here at this meeting either. So I think we might need to have, for making a decision like that, we might need to have all of it.
No question, dear. If we have a nice safe here, is there a real locked up kind of storage area that would be impervious to thieves?
That was, are you
as much as possible.
You're talking about the records area?
Yeah, the records area, would that be?
That was a discussion whether it needed to be fireproof, meaning a vault, you could say, or it needed to be fire rated. But we could, if it's fire rated, the walls go all the way up to the structural deck above, and you could put some heavier locks, metal board on the records room to keep it tight, as tight as you can.
And then the evidence room will be secure.
Right. And we could do that out of CNC block, the walls out of block, and have a sheetrock burned out on it to keep it clean. So there's multiple ways to keep it secure. Now, secure and fireproof, of course, those are two different scenarios and categories, depending on how far you want to go with it and how far the budget will allow you to go.
Do you all have any other questions at this moment?
I might mention, I did speak with an electrical engineer about a generator. You mentioned you had a generator and you were going to bring it to the site. He did mention, are we going to power the whole building with these generators or just portions of those buildings or of the spaces? That was something to consider when we were talking about this generator. There's different circuiting in the electrical.
I would think for certain we would want to power the offices, your office and the clerk's office.
And I believe it's set up now, which is this big building. It doesn't run the AC, but it runs the computers and the other smaller things.
We want the police department, a couple of those offices powered, for sure, where they can operate their computers.
But it's a good size generator.
Yeah.
That's
right.
This is a 60,000 square foot building.
Right. Exactly. It depends on the size of that generator, what it can accomplish.
What is lead, sir? Lead, sir?
LEED is it's a green building. LEED is Leadership in Energy Efficient Design is the name of it.
Oh, okay.
So there's certificates for that. I would recommend you not do that. Basically buying a plaque, in my opinion. We can keep your building sustainable without going through those certifications. Yeah, it can get very expensive.
We did discuss LED light fixtures,
which is becoming pretty common these days.
and certainly energy efficient windows and doors, insulation, all of the stuff to make it energy efficient. Okay, do we have any more questions at this point? All right, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve a special meeting in June where we can discuss further some, presentations or do a little bit more research on architectural firm and other options that we might have, and then also to follow up on any other issues that we may need to address on this item. And that's, I talked to staff, June the 20th is the day that might be that would work for them, and that's our CRA day. Mr. Hartman and Mr. Large are usually here, are always here at CRA meeting day. And that's Tuesday. What do you all think about that? Will you be here on that day?
What day now?
June the 20th, it's a Tuesday. So does that seem appropriate to everyone, to Mr. Hartman? And what time? We've done it before this CRA meetings happened. Before. What time?
We start at 4.
And we've done it at 3 o'clock too, in the afternoon. And we do it. What time? Okay,
We
so,
can say immediately following the CRA meeting.
all right.
That way we don't lose time. CRA meeting starts at 1:30. Yeah, approximately 3 o'clock. But, yeah, immediately following.
Okay, so may I have a motion then to approve the special meeting date, and this is not a workshop, the special meeting date of June the 20th at approximately 3 p.m. Immediately following the CRA meeting? Okay, ma'am. Okay, so that's a motion by Commissioner Walden, second by Commissioner Allen. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? And then that motion carries. Okay. All right, thank you, sir. Now I'm gonna call for some other motions here so that we can continue our work. I'd like a motion to approve the continued work on the conceptual floor plan so that we can continue to move forward on the site plan. May I have a motion on that? Okay. May I have a second to continue work on the conceptual floor plan? Conceptual number 4. We need to continue to work on the conceptual floor plan so that we can continue all the other work. Okay. All right, so we have a second by Commissioner Allen. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. I would like to have a motion for Mr. Large to continue to work on the preliminary site plan and permitting conducted by Inovia. Okay. Okay. A motion by Commissioner Walden, second by Commissioner Allen. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Then I'd like a motion, we've got quite a few here I'm going to request to direct the attorney to begin work on the tax-exempt documents that will need to be presented to the bank when we complete our loan documents. Direct the attorney to begin working on the tax-exempt documents. This has to be done to submit loan to all of our loan applications. Okay. Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Walden, second by Commissioner Allen. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Then that motion carries. I would like to have a motion to direct the attorney to continue working with the school board and Courtney and Commissioner Allen regarding the field house and all the negotiations. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Allen, second, excuse me, that motion was by Commissioner Walden, and second by Commissioner Allen. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, any opposed? And that motion carries. I would like to have a motion to direct Courtney to contact Mark Payne to begin developing a revenues and expenses projections document. This also has to be submitted with our loan application. They're requesting a revenues and expenses projection to justify that the city would be able to make a payment, any payment. So, okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Walden, a second by Commissioner Allen. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, then that motion carries. And is there any more discussion? Do you all have any motions that you would like to make regarding this issue at this point? Any input, Ms. Courtney, Ms. Keisha? All right, 8:18, about that clock. I'm going to call for a motion to adjourn. Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Walden. Do I have a second? And a second by Commissioner Allen. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Okay, good night. Happy 4th of July.